Hello and welcome to the 2020 Key Stage 4 information event. As you'll notice, this is a virtual event, not the normal face-to-face that we have in school. We hope that the information you receive will be helpful and will ensure that you as parents feel reassured about the upcoming year. Welcome to the team. My name's Mrs Dempsey. It is my role within school to monitor the attainment and the progress of Key Stage 4. I've been working really closely this year with Mr Hoyle on the reading initiative. I'm really interested in reading, quite passionate about it actually. My reading at the moment is My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. I find it really nice to unwind in the evening. It's not a particularly challenging read, but it's a really nice read and it just enables me to wind down. Mrs Hamby is in charge of the welfare and the mental health of our Key Stage 4 students. We're also very fortunate that we have Mr Shaw supporting the year group. And of course, Mr Bennett, our SLT link.
Hello, it's Mr Hoyle. I have some responsibility within school for teaching and learning, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time at the start of this video to talk to you about the focus that we're placing on reading at school during this academic year. Reading's always been a focus, but we're really trying to emphasise it this year. You'll see on the slide that accompanies me talking, there are a whole range of reasons why reading is beneficial for all of us, and particularly for young people. Some of those reasons are academic, they're to do with brain science, some of those reasons are social, and some of those reasons are about health and well-being. So across school we're placing this focus on reading in order that we hope it benefits students in their learning, but also, as I say, socially in their well-being too. There's also a practical reason. We're in a situation now within school, as you'll be well aware, that each of our year groups are being taught in bubbles. What that means is that staff have to move between each lesson. So you can quite often be in a situation where you're moving from room 77 down to room 6 and you're going the length and breadth of the school. What we don't want to happen is we don't want there to be any wasted time. If we've learned anything in the last 6 months, it's just how precious time in school is. Having a reading book for each of our students means that everybody knows at the start of those lessons they should be reaching into their bag, taking out a book that they really enjoy in order that they've got a focus for their learning at the start of those lessons and that precious time is not wasted.
Mrs Dempsey talked about reading to relax. My book that I'm reading at the moment maybe isn't the most relaxing book. I'm reading Stalin by Robert Service. We talk to students about you can read for all sorts of different purposes. This is not a book that is going to help you get to sleep at night or take you to an attractive place around the world, but it's a fascinating book. I teach A-level Russian history and it's honestly a fantastic, interesting book about a period of huge change in the 20th century. So that currently is a book that I'm reading. This year we'll use Google Classroom for our home learning and also for most feedback that students will receive during the year. Google Classroom gives students an opportunity to access a range of resources, gives them links to different documents, websites, videos, and will be really useful as they move towards their exams and consolidating the work they've done over the last year or the last 2 years. It will also be the main platform in which they receive feedback from their teachers. So they've been used before the summer to submitting work on Google Classroom. They're able to do that really well now, and that's how feedback will come back to them for most of their work this year as well. It proved before the summer to be a really successful platform. We've obviously updated students this year, made sure we've given them a bit more training. We put a training video answering some of the questions from before the summer, but I've got confidence they really understand it and will use it really well. So that's how we'll use homework. We're no longer using Doddle. That's a platform we stopped using because we found Google Classroom to be a better platform for home learning. So that's how we'll operate during this year for all our year groups in the school. The slide shows you the grading system, and the key thing to remember is that it matters how everybody in the country does. It's not a case of how each individual student does, that won't determine their grade, but they are put into a rank order, and that's been the case since 2015 in the new qualifications. So how they perform depends on how everybody else performs compared to them. The key for those students then is to make sure they are working as hard as they can all the way through. I talked earlier about valuing their time. If they do that, they will get the best grades. It's not about comparing with their neighbour sat next to them in a lesson, but it's about thinking, I will do my best, because the way I'll get the best grade is to perform better than other people around the country. So it's really about hard work, asking for help, seeking advice, and just trying your very best as you go through. The grading system obviously is numbers now. So 9 is the highest, 1 is the lowest, and a 4 is classed as a standard pass, so equivalent to an old C. A 7 is equivalent to an old A, and a 1 is equivalent to an old G. And that might give you a sort of guide to the grades that students will receive in the summer.
Hello everyone, and I wanted to talk you through some key things around the GCSEs and BTECs that are either there in a year or 2 years' time. So obviously you'll not be naive to the concept that this year we awarded through the process of centre assessed grades the best part of 3,000 qualifications across our then year 11 and year 13. And I can't sit here and tell you we know what's going to happen next summer, and we don't know what's going to happen next summer. And in many ways, what we're doing now here at Poynton High and in the sixth form is making sure that we're prepared for whatever the system is. It's most likely to be potentially a hybrid of centre assessed grades and examinations. It may be entirely examinations, it may be entirely centre assessed grades, but it's most likely to be some sort of hybrid between the two. What that means is we're going to get your children and your young people back on the treadmill of learning very quickly. And they're in now, and we're getting them learning, and we're getting all of that work through them and back on that treadmill of learning. We'll get them prepared for those exams. We've got a lot of work that is happening around what's referred to as Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 planning. And what that means is that we'll be in a position overnight to be able to flick a switch. Essentially, we'll be able to, for your sons and daughters, to go to bed on a Wednesday afternoon with in-school learning and wake up on a Thursday morning with remote learning. We're likely over the next few weeks, months, for however long, to be experiencing a bit of a hybrid model of education. So what we're doing is we're going to make sure that we're ready and prepared to move seamlessly between in-school and at home. What that means is, what we're started with the exam preparation is we're working with all subject areas with regard to the adjustments that Ofqual are making in terms of what is expected if and when those exams happen. So various assessments and various expectations for each subject have been changed. I'm not going to go into detail of that on the video, but what you will be getting is a summary emailed out to you which says in GCSE drama, this is the adjustment. In GCSE maths, this is the adjustment. In A-level economics, this is the adjustment. So you can see, and so can your sons and daughters, to see exactly what adjustments are being made. I can't even sit here and tell you when those exams may be. They may be in May. They may be in June, they may be in July. We're working on the basis of everything would be ready for May, but it may be that the government and the Department for Education and Ofqual push some of those exams back a bit, further into June, further into July, to make sure that we've got enough time to get the full curriculum coverage in. We are planning on the basis of we won't have that time, and that's why everything's being geared accordingly. What we're also doing is we're identifying parts of each subject that can be put entirely online. We'll identify for every GCSE, BTEC and A-level aspects where students can do it entirely themselves online. That would either be supported through our artificial intelligence learning platform, Century Tech, or through our Google Classroom work, or through live lessons, using the National Oaks Academy work, or BBC work. But we're going to identify topics, small topics, where we say that is your responsibility. You go online, it's all there for you, you learn that. And in February next year, we're going to test that. So what we're able to do after February is to give every child and their parent, this is the learning we asked them to take responsibility for online, and this is how they've done. And that will then allow us to respond to that. What that's doing is it's taking some of the heat, if you like, out of the density that we've got to cover. We'll cover the vast majority, they'll cover small parts for each subject in their own time, at their own pace, for formal assessments in February. So, as I say, every child will have a responsibility for their own small segments of the curriculum. What we're therefore doing around centre assessed grades is we're preparing what's referred to as low stakes and medium stakes assessments this month. What low stakes and medium stakes means is it's generally done in the classroom, could be through question and answer, could be through test-based and topic-based tests, but that's low and medium stakes, to then build up to December where we'll have high stakes testing. And high stakes testing is where we essentially do the mocks. Now, a lot of that work will then help us inform what we do in terms of centre assessed grades if we have to do centre assessed grades. Now, I think it's important for me to point out just how centre assessed grades work. Centre assessed grades do not start on the premise of a grade. They start on the premise of a rank order. And what we're required to do when we do centre assessed grades is we're required to rank every child, from the top mathematician to all the way to the mathematician who's probably the weakest. And with 247 students, for example, in year 11, we have to rank order from 1 to 247. So it's not necessarily what the child gets in terms of the grade outcome on a test, it's what they get in comparison to their friend, to their colleague, to their co-worker. So what they're trying to do is it's not about what they know, it's about what they know in relation to everyone else in their cohort, in their class. And I think that is a real distinction. So it's not what the tests kick out in terms of grades, it's what they kick out in terms of rank. Because then we're able, right at the end, to take that rank order and overlay grades on top. There's a lot of discussion amongst the students and some parents about guidance grades, target grades, mock grades, and so on. But I just wanted to point out that it's not about the actual grading system, it's about the ranking system. So in many ways, when I sit there and stand there in assembly and tell the young people to jump in with both feet, they're jumping in with both feet and they're competing against their fellow colleagues. And that's a key distinction. So just to recap, we don't know if it's going to be fully examined or centre assessed grades. We don't know if those exams are going to be in May, June or July. But what we do know is we're making everything possible to get them back on that treadmill of learning. Every subject has got a curriculum map to get them there. Every subject is starting off with low stakes tests going into medium, going into high, so that when we get through to the other end of this academic year, we'll have all the evidence to either support an exam system, a centre assessed grade system, or a hybrid system. And that's key for us moving forward. So, as we go through this academic year, some questions that I've been asked, as I say, have been around guidance grades, but another question I've been asked is around students dropping subjects. And we don't need or want students to drop subjects. So at the present moment in time, it's not in their best interests until we've had a good period of time and we've gone through these low, medium and high stakes assessments before we get anywhere near those conversations about dropping subjects. We're not 100% sure what's being assessed. We're not 100% sure about when that's being assessed, and we're not 100% sure of how the whole grade's being made together. So it would be foolish if for us to be leading a system which says that we should be dropping subjects. So right here and right now, over the certainly this next term, we're not countenancing any dropping of subjects because we've got a robust plan in place to get them up to speed on that treadmill of learning in every subject that they're doing.
Hi, I'm Mr Wilson. I'm the Assistant Director of Learning in Maths. I've been asked to share with you my favourite book. 1984 by George Orwell is one that's always fascinated me. The whole language, the whole idea, and certainly has some relevance in the present day as well. So 1984, great book for any Year 10 or Year 11 students to read. I just wanted to update you on some of the provisions that the maths team have put in place to support your young person through up towards their exams. One of the things that we introduced to the students before we broke up was something called the Pixel Maths app. Now the Pixel Maths app's absolutely fantastic. It will It's a maths revision app that has PowerPoints on there, it has videos, it has questions for the students to do. But most importantly, it learns what the students are good at and what they are not good at. So if you wanted to help your son or daughter with their revision, the best thing that you can do is ask to check their Pixel Maths app score. It's dead easy. All the students should have the app installed on the phones. You just click on it, top left-hand corner, and you will see the scoreboard. You'll be able to see how many points they've got and their position within their class. What we're asking of the students is that they add 10 to their score every week. This week in class, we've given the students a couple of documents. So the first document that we've given them is a list of every single topic that is on the GCSE. Here's an example of one of the foundation ones. But what we've done is we've broken this up into topics that they've already covered, which are not highlighted, topics that were covered during lockdown, which are highlighted in yellow, and then the topics that we've got remaining for year 11, we've got highlighted in blue. So students will come home with that this week, and they'll also have a map of how all of these topics fit together.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Meakin. I'm the Assistant Director of Learning for English. The book that I've been enjoying recently is a book called Silent Scream by Angela Marsons. It's the first book in a series of 13, and she's a fantastic crime writer, and my aim is to eventually write my own crime novel, so I'm hoping to get some inspiration by reading those books. We will be dropping the text Jekyll and Hyde in order to gain us some more time to revisit all the skills and the text that we've done already. We have touched on every aspect of the course so far, so that means that all we are doing now is we are managing student learning and making it that they are able to manage their own learning. So we are revisiting things that they've already done, we are refreshing the skills that they're already familiar with, and there's no new content at this point that they need to be learning. The main priority for us with Year 11 is that students have their own awareness of what they need to know. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of concentrated work on knowledge organisers that kind of put into categories of, this is your English language knowledge for your GCSE, very focused on techniques and approach to question structures. In literature, there's knowledge organisers that outline the plot that they need to know. We're directing them towards really key quotes that allow for a lot of in-depth analysis and that can be used in various exam questions, so that no matter what the question, they are equipped with a bank of quotes and a bank of knowledge that will allow them to really analyse and respond to the expectations of the exam. We'll also be offering an opportunity for students to review their knowledge. So they did this in year 10 and they'll be seeing the exact same sheet, and they'll be doing it again to see where they still feel like they need a little bit of support.
Hi, I'm Miss Stovey, the Key Stage 4 Science Coordinator. I'm currently reading Christmas Shopaholic from the Shopaholic series by Sophie Kinsella. I enjoy reading these books because they help me to relax and I find them funny. So with the Year 11 GCSE Science, the students will either be doing GCSE Double Science, where they will gain 2 GCSEs, or they will be doing Triple Science, where they gain 3 GCSEs, 1 for each science. All the courses are 100% examination. There have been no changes made to the content of these science exams. However, the practical work can be delivered now by demonstrations or simulations, and we've put things in place so that this can happen. So in science, we are on target to complete the course and have got built-in check-in points to recap content. The course is mapped out with built-in revision time as usual. Mastery lessons are taking place at the start of the year. This is putting the key concepts that was learnt remotely into everyday context. All the work set during lockdown is also available on Google Drive still for the students to access, and we've got some new resources available. This includes Focus e-learning, which can be used for practical work, and the students can access this at home. They've been given the logons to this in their first science lesson, and we've also got Century Tech, which will be used for personalised learning.
As a school, we use the Start online platform to help support our students for their careers advice. I can't stress enough what a valuable resource this is, not only for our students who all have a personal login and are able to explore all the different breadth of careers available to them, but also for you as parents and carers to actually achieve your own login and be able to go online and help support your young person. There's lots of information on there about a variety of different careers that may actually not have existed maybe when we went to school. Loads of different exciting opportunities that enable our young people to get an idea and an insight into what it may be that they want to do when they leave school. We're very fortunate that we also have an online careers fair on the 7th of October. Students will be encouraged to take part on the online tutorials, there'll be quizzes, and they're able to have one-to-one interaction with professionals who can give them specific advice about their careers. It's also actually really useful for students to start exploring different options that they might want to do when they leave school, and to begin to think about school as the building block for where they want to be when they leave. Maybe have a look at those different careers and work back from that. What do I maybe need to study at GCSE? What do I maybe need to study then at A-level? What might I then need to go and have a look at university? We're very fortunate at Poynton High School that we actually have a sixth form college attached to us. It's a fantastic resource available to us and our young people. The entry requirements are available to you. You can see those on the screen. We ask that students come to us with 5 GCSEs graded 4 to 9. Different subjects will have specific entry requirements, so it's important that your young person is aware of those and has individual conversations with their teachers. It's really important that students are aware of what the entry requirements to universities are. What A-levels do they need to have studied? Have a look, go online. Again, the resources are all available in the FAQ booklet. Make sure that you are studying an A-level that will lead you on to that next step. The sixth form open evening event will run on Thursday the 12th of November. It is likely that this also will be a virtual event. Encourage your young person to come along. The sixth form is extremely different to the high school, and the way that students will be treated will be also very, very different. They are transitioning into young adults. The benefit of having a sixth form attached to our school is that we as teachers know those individual students very, very well. We know areas that they need to develop and we know what their key strengths are. Our sixth form offers a range of enrichment opportunities ranging from the employee group for future apprenticeship courses, UCAS events, we offer Career Ready and the EPQ qualification. More information will be on the prospectus for the sixth form evening.
Hello, I'm Mrs Hanby. I'm the Welfare League for Key Stage 4. The book I'm reading at the moment is Michelle Obama's Becoming Michelle Obama. We had a quote as our thought for the week last week, which was that if we open our hearts and minds, we can choose to change the course of our own history. And I think that was quite poignant for me, so have a look at the book. I'm here to sort of talk about one message and one message only really, and that is about the importance to attend school and to attend school every day and to be on time every day, and that punctuality is really important. For everyone at Key Stage 4, every day, every second of that day, currently now, is so important for you. Every decision you make about attending to school gives you an opportunity to make a difference on a daily basis and lesson by lesson. So it's important to get into those routines of organising yourself in the evenings, packing your bag for the next day, making sure that you go to bed early and you rest and you look after yourself and you keep yourself hydrated and you eat well. It's really important that you allow yourself enough time to get to school on time, whether you're walking, riding a bike, coming by train, on the bus or getting a lift.
At Key Stage 4 we talk an awful lot about revision. My best piece of advice to you and to your young people is to start early. Revision isn't something that you should be doing last minute prior to an exam. It's something that you should be consistently dropping into and making sure that you're really clear on what it is that you're revising and tasks that you might need to actually look at in advance of your exams. Make sure you understand topics. If topics aren't totally clear, it gives you an opportunity to go and see your teacher rather than cramming the night before an assessment or an exam. So my first piece of advice is start early. Create a revision timetable. Don't overwhelm yourself. Make sure that you're giving up a dedicated amount of time to study and say, okay, tonight I'm going to study geography. Tomorrow night I'm going to study for half an hour. I'm going to have a look at maths. And if you keep that consistent timetable over the course of the year leading up to your exams, you won't have a circumstance where you're cramming the night before. So start early, create a revision timetable. Build in downtime. You should not be spending hours upon hours revising. Revision should be really focused, it should be purposeful, and it should be meaningful. But it shouldn't be something that you're doing for hours and hours and hours. Build in downtime, have a break, go for a walk, go downstairs, listen to some music, but build in a break. Avoid distractions. I know everybody says, oh no, I revise better with music on, I revise better with Coronation Street playing in the background, but remove those distractions. Make sure you're in a quiet environment, make sure that any distractions around you are removed. If the hamster's running around on that wheel, you're going to find it very, very difficult to focus. Start early, look after yourself, build in breaks, create a revision timetable. I'm going to go through with you a couple of different revision opportunities that I use within school. These strategies enable you to go back and revisit different tasks that you may have studied within lessons, and it actually gives you an opportunity to revise over them and think, do I actually really know what I'm supposed to be doing there? Have I got the correct information recorded in my book? So one of the strategies that I'm going to talk to you about is the Cornell note-taking strategy. And this is a fantastic strategy that enables students to, as I say, revisit and revise what information they've been recording in their lesson. So breaking down big chunks of writing. As you'll see, we're expecting students to maybe write in the margin questions and get them to trigger what information they're seeing and picking out in that big block of text. So you're working backwards. What is that block of text telling me? I'm going to write in the margin, I'm going to ask a question, and then the information that they've written down will have given them all of that information. The Cornell note strategy enables students to think more deeply about the information that they've historically recorded. They may have a big group of text that actually we're requiring students to break down. It might be that actually in their margin they're writing a really simple question, and in that body of text is the answer. It might also be that there is a summary section at the bottom that takes all of that really big amount of information and reduces it down into a summary. That's what a revision's about. It's about taking all of these months of lots of information and breaking it down to something that we can remember and take forward with us into an assessment. The Cornell note strategy is a really good strategy for students to start with, particularly if they're unsure about how to revise. Another of my favourites is a thinking hard model. The thinking hard model gets students to break down key bits of information. They're breaking it down, they're prioritising, they're reducing, transforming into information, categorising it and extending it. You'll see from the information that I'm providing how they might want to do that. So prioritise. They might want to go through a huge block of information, a huge chunk of information, and take out key bits from there. Is it that they're giving key facts? Is it that there's dates in there that students need to remember? But they're prioritising some of that key text and reducing it. The reducing strategy would ask that actually students break again a big, huge chunk of text down into the 12 words or less. But it enables us to remember something much more simply than if we were asked to memorise 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. If we're asked to remember a few words, it gives us a greater opportunity to remember the content of what we're revising. Transforming the information. Could we transform that information into pictures? I know personally I'm a very visual person, so actually creating something that's very visual and creating pictures about information is something that I find really helpful. Particularly if you've got a photographic memory, it might be that you can then look at your revision notes and you've drawn icons or certain pictures that would relate to a key piece of information. Categorise. You want to sort the categories of information that you're looking at. Can it be subdivided into different sections? For example, if we're looking at different types of materials in a resistance lesson, Is it that you're going to categorise it into different areas? Are we going to look at metals? Are we going to look at plastics? Are we going to look at smart materials? By categorising those different materials, we can break and chunk the information down into smaller parts. The extend. Could you write down 3 questions that actually related to a piece of information that you're revising? So you're working back, you have a key piece of information, you have maybe a body of text that you want to revise, you're going to take that information in, but you're always going to flip that on its head. Could you write questions that would be then the answer in the larger body of text? Then we have the prioritised revision strategy. This is a really simple one and enables us to take, again, a larger piece of information or a larger topic and break it down into smaller components. It enables students to really think about the information that they're revising. What do they really need to know? Can they break it down into subcategories? Can they be thinking about, right, okay, if again, I'm looking at a key piece of information, above all else, what do I need to know? And once I know that information and once I'm clear with that information, what then might that lead on to? The prioritised strategy is a really helpful strategy in order to break down key pieces of information and to chunk our learning. This year, our revision fair will be run remotely. In place of a live event, staff will be pre-recording short videos that enable them to give advice to students about specific revision strategies. During the fair, parents and carers will be able to look and trial and test different revision strategies that have been helpful within subjects. We'll be able to share advice and offer strategies moving forward. The virtual GCSE revision fair will have sessions on a variety of different topics, ranging from nutrition and learning, healthy sleep habits, how we can look after ourselves, our physical well-being, as well as using different revision apps. There'll be a variety of different resources that we hope will be really useful to our young people in preparation for their assessments and their exams. One of the nicest pleasures that we have teaching in a secondary school is celebrating our young people and their successes. This is top secret, so if your young person is watching with you, please ask them to go somewhere else. We're asking parents to participate again in our top secret proud letter. We ask that parents and carers write in a young letter to their young person about how proud you are of them. Now more than ever, it's really important that they know that we're thinking of them, that we're supporting them, and that we know that they can do it. The Key Stage 4 team will hold an assembly just in advance of any exams. We'll pass on to our young people how proud we are of them and how high our hopes are of them moving forward into those really important exams, those stepping stone exams that will lead them on to that next place. It's a really nice opportunity to show students how proud we are of them, but equally how proud you are of them at home. It's no mean feat to get through 12 years of education, and it all comes together into these final exams. So we ask that you write them this proud letter, just to remind them about how proud you are of them. If you could email this in, that would be really great. Information will be in our information booklet. Last year, the most powerful impact came from parents and carers that wrote those letters themselves. We as a year team, of course, tell students how proud we are of them, but the cries, the laughter, those came from your notes at home.
Hello everyone. What I also want to talk about is the phrase protect, protect, protect. So, if you've been following my Twitter feed or you've been looking at our website, you'll have seen the extensive level of planning that we've been putting into getting children back safely. And I just want to put this in context and reiterate a message that I gave to all students as they arrived back in September. We have 1,432 young people in our care here. I have 176 staff. We're all in this together. It is not the easiest thing on the earth to be able to bring back that many people into one place. And I am so very grateful to our community for taking heed for my message that if you live within 2 miles of Poynton High School, please have your child walk to school. If you live outside of 2 miles, please drop your child off somewhere else other than school site. We have to work on this together. What I said to students is that I wanted them to remember back. I wanted them to remember back to March, April and May, when every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock we used to go outside of our homes and we used to clap and cheer and bang things and set off fireworks for the heroes that are the NHS. Those doctors, the nurses, the auxiliary staff, the cleaners, the porters, the receptionists, they are absolute heroes in helping us and helping our community and our society to get back to some level of functionality and normality. What I need the students to be is I need them to be the heroes now. And there are rules around face masks, face shields, hand sanitizers, bubbles, facing one direction, making sure that the zones don't mix and so on, that they're likely to get frustrated with, or they're likely to not truly understand the nature of why we're doing these things. The three main health and safety priorities is number one, we need to keep ill people away from healthy people. And that's why I need you, that if your child or someone in your household or yourself is exhibiting symptoms of COVID, you need to self-isolate, keep your children off school and ring the COVID helpline to get a test. What that means is, if they have a temperature, if they've got a dry, persistent, new cough, or if they've got a change in taste or a change in smell, they're the key three symptoms. However, that's not to be conflated with a cold. We're about to go into October, November, December, and colds will happen, runny noses will happen. And I want them in because we need to get them on the treadmill of learning. But if it's those three symptoms of COVID, need you to keep them off. So number one, we need to keep ill people away from healthy people. Number two is wash their hands. We have spent an extraordinary amount of money. We have more hand sanitizer than we know what to do with. We have sinks and soap and towels and everything around the entire school. And we're encouraging our students to make sure that at all points they're washing their hands. And number three, if they need to cough, if they need to sneeze, or if they've just got a bit of a splutter, they need to do that into a tissue, and that tissue needs to go into a bin. That's the catch it, kill it, bin it slogan that's running across the country. We're all in this together and need us to work together, because it's not just about the 1,432 young people or the 176 staff. We serve a community of tens of thousands of people, and it's our community that we're protecting, it's our staff that we're protecting, and it's our children that we're protecting. And if we work together on these things and we tread carefully and take those baby steps forward, we're able to continue our learning, keep our school open, and make sure that our young people have the access to the things that they need to make sure that they have a passport to move on to things later on in life. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for all the questions that you've sent in. And thank you for the very positive messages and comments and emails and tweets that we're getting about our level of planning and preparation. But it's key that we continue to work on this together. Protect, protect, protect. Because it's not just the children, it's not just the staff, it's our community as a whole. So thank you, but let's keep on going. Thank you.
I'm going to leave you with a quote. It's not going to be easy, there will be challenges ahead, but it will be worth it. These exams, these results will lead your young person on to their next steps.
What I failed to do in my first section, but quite deliberately, was talk about the things that I'm reading. I have an instinct that my colleagues will have told you about some very interesting, intellectually impressive texts. My own reading? Well, I'm a father of 3-year-old twins, so quite often my reading at the moment revolves around Meghan Mogg and Disney princess books. It's not that all that academically or intellectually impressive. That has a knock-on effect. The knock-on effect is that when I'm choosing fiction for myself, the book I read most recently was a book called Grief is a Thing with Feathers by Max Porter. It's only 100 pages long. It's very short. So the impact of the time that I have available means that the choices I make in terms of reading are quite deliberate. I understand that for everyone out there, reading choices are difficult at times. We lead busy lives, it's hard to be motivated. But again, as the slide accompanying this will say, we have to model the change that we want to be. So I'm setting you a challenge. There is an email address accompanying on the slide. I'd like you to contact me. I'd like you to write into that address, tell me about the books that you're reading, the books that you enjoy, and in the spirit of the Couch to 5K, I'd like to set our parents, who are so wonderfully supportive of everything we do within school, I'd like to set you all a challenge to model for your young people. Let's go for a couch and 5 books challenge. You don't have to get off the couch for this challenge. You can stay on it. I might not be doing myself any favours in terms of healthy eating. You can eat crisps, you can eat ice cream, but if you're reading those 5 books, you are modelling for your young people the kind of response we want for our reading strategy. I'm really looking forward to the communications we get. I'm excited by finding out what kind of books you've been reading and how that challenge goes. Let us know. Let's really support the young people across Poynton by modelling that reading. Thank you.
You will have received along with this video an online form, giving you an opportunity to write and ask any questions that you may have that we haven't been able to answer for you this evening. We will then issue a booklet with any frequently asked questions and information that will be useful for you this year.